What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. It is Last of Us Sunday, y'all. It's that time of the week, y'all. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Let me turn down this music a little bit. Don't y'all love that music? I love that I found that. It just sets the mood. It sets the mood for this amazing show. But listen, appreciate you all joining us again for our weekly watch along for The Last of Us. We started it last week. I said, hey, man, I really would like to do this with you all every week. And y'all came through and showed out last week. And we're going to be doing this every week moving forward, which is our watch party. And then after the watch party, doing a live discussion after show with potentially special guests. I had some people reach out to me this past week and say, hey man, let me get on the channel and talk some Last of Us. So we'll have some special guests potentially join us when we get to that portion after the show. Some first time people joining us, so that's going to be exciting. I always love bringing in new people to the channel, so that'll be later, but we first got to watch the episode, which I'm very excited for. Episode 2 of The Last of Us, which is being titled Infection. So only one can imagine what that means. Ellie she got some explaining to do, right, with Tess and Joel, and as they go across the gate and to the madness. So it's going to be exciting, man. I'm so happy to be with you all. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and we're gonna have fun, y'all. We're gonna have fun. Let me just turn this off because this is getting creepy. I feel like someone's gonna jump out and just attack me or something, man. But listen, before we get the episode started, if you haven't already, if you're joining us from last week for the first time, hit the thumbs up, man. It really goes a long way. I appreciate the support. Spreads it out to the algorithm, and we can get some people in here and have some fun discussions, as well as hit the share button, man. If you all have any social media accounts via Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, hit the share button. I would really appreciate that. And we're live, y'all. This is Sunday, the 22nd. We got some football games going on right now. Shout out to my man Brandon from Just My Opinion Reviews. I know he's a Cowboys fan. I don't know who's winning right now. Let me actually give a quick we got a 9-9 game. It's a tight defensive struggle right now, so that's always great for a playoff game. So shout out to any Cowboys or 49er fans out there. And listen, your boy lived in Rochester, New York for a couple years, so I know there's some Buffalo Bills fans out there that feel pretty bad losing to the Bengals earlier today. And so a little NFL talk for you all. But listen, I'm so excited for tonight's episode, man. If you all have seen last week's episode, of course, I hope you've seen it because you're here now to watch the second episode. But have you all seen the numbers for last week? Pretty incredible for the show. It was like the highest watched show, second highest, I believe, next to House of the Dragon for the last 10 years, which is just goddamn HBO. They just don't miss, man. So I'm so happy that it did great, and I'm just so excited to be back tonight with you all. So let me see who we got in the chat, man, and saying what's up to everyone. Let's see. Mayan saying, don't forget that thumbs up. Yes. I would appreciate it. My man Jay Manley, who joined us last week, he joined the live discussion. Appreciate him coming through. I hope you had a great week, Jay. And I'm excited, man, to look into tonight's episode, my friend. What's going on? How we doing? The homie Rims in the building. So glad to be back. We got people from Finland coming in, showing some love. What's going on to you, Muhammad? I appreciate you. Hello from Columbus. Kate, how you doing, Miss Kate? Thank you so much for joining us. My man Tony with the with the mushrooms and the everything going on in this world. Which, I mean, just briefly before we get into tonight's episode, which will probably be popping up on HBO Max in here in a second, man. I've seen the episode a couple of times now. It's just amazing. As a lot of people have said, great pilot episode. I couldn't agree more. But even revisiting the episode, there's so many little nuances. There's so many different things and details you can pick out of those episodes. And I know a lot of people have, some of my YouTube buddies have dissected the episode and pointed out the whole fungal and the whole eating bread and all the different things. It was just such a great way to kick off this incredible show. And man, I can't wait to see what we get into tonight. I have a feeling, again, I mentioned last week, I have played the game, but it's been some years since I played the game. So I'm not like, it's not on the top of the brain as something that, if I would have played it, before the show came out. But I do believe, based on my knowledge of the game, what we're getting into tonight is going to be pretty crazy, man. I think we're going to get a lot more action, because I have seen mostly positive comments from people that have seen the episode last week, obviously, but there were some criticisms. One being it was a little slow for some people. Didn't follow the game as beat for beat as some people liked it. But I do know as far as the slow aspect, I appreciate world building. I appreciate slow burns. I appreciate getting to know the characters and falling in love with the characters before the hits the fan. But for those that were like, man, where's the action? I think we're gonna get into some action tonight. Again, haven't obviously seen the episode, but based on what I know from that shot of last week when they were going into those buildings, I remember that level being pretty creepy, pretty action packed. So I think we're gonna get some action tonight for any of those action people that were a little bit disappointed last week. So I think we're gonna get that on top of more of Ellie and Joel in this week's episode, as well as Tess. So I think we're in for a treat, y'all. Shout out to Kay in the building from Arizona, showing some love. I appreciate you, Kay. Emily in the building. Can't wait for tonight's episode. It's gonna be fun, Emily. I can't wait. The homie Nisi in the building. How we doing, Nisi? Hope you're doing well. Hope you all had a great week, and we're gonna have some fun tonight, y'all. Let's see here. Tony and Hart says, I already love the show. Me and you both, Hart 68. And thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you to everyone that's joining us live. Again, thumbs up, share, comment your live comments in the stream, and let me refresh this as I'm speaking now to see if the episode is loaded on HBO. And again, for those that are just watching us for the first time, what a watch along essentially is I'm not going to be unfortunately playing the episode on the screen due to copyright reasons, but hopefully you all have your own way to watch tonight's episode via HBO Max, other sites out there. So once it is available on HBO Max, I'm going to go ahead and set a timer and we can sync it up and watch it together. And commentate, live while we're watching it. And then, like I said, what we did last week, and we will be doing it again tonight, we'll have a live after show discussing the episode, things we might have missed, commentary on the episode, and all that fun stuff. And I believe we will be having some special guests that's going to be joining us tonight. So that's going to be fun when we get to that point. But again, thank you so much for the super chat and for the love and loving the show. Loving the show as well. So thank you for the support there. So it still hasn't loaded up on my end. If anyone's at home that has HBO Max, let me know if it's popped up on your end yet. And then once it does, like I said, we'll go ahead and press play. And still not 8 yet. So, but sometimes they'd like to drop it a couple minutes early so it doesn't crash. Let's see. Hello from France. I mean, we got some international love tonight. I love to see it, man. Thank you. Showing some love from France. Definitely a place I would love to visit one of these days. Had to watch. You watched it 3 times, JJ. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I agree. I'm 3 times. Y'all got me beat. I watched it twice. Yatanka, hey, someone, he might join us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We might have a special guest that I can't wait to join a little bit later. But shout out to you, Shawnee. Let's go. Is it ready? Is it up? Is it ready, guys? Let me go ahead and refresh the page. It is still 9 or 7:59 on my end. Refresh. Still nothing. Is it Tony saying sync up? Is it synced on your end? Yes, the show loaded for me. All right, May. I see the comments there. I'm gonna reset it one more time and see if if it hits my app. Still nothing there, guys. So if it's showing up on your end, if you didn't mind, if you just want to wait maybe a couple seconds, couple minutes, because it still hasn't popped on my end. But once it does, I'm gonna put a timer up there and sync it up. But if you want to watch it right away, just make sure you don't spoil anything because we might be a couple minutes behind. But I'm gonna reset it again. Let me see. I'm gonna actually do the whole close the app, open it back up, see what we got. Ah, man. Let's see. All right, let's see. Do we got it? Is it loaded up? Are you ready for me, Joel, Ellie? Are you ready? Episode 2. There we go. All right, there we go. 52 minutes. So a little bit shorter than last week. All right, guys. I see it on HBO Max. I'll click on the episode. Get the headphones ready, all that good stuff. It is time to have some fun. All right, let me get the... All right, get the timer here just for all that is watching the replay or join us in. You all know where we're going to be syncing the episode. So on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, pressing play now. And by the way, I let the commercials and all that play. I don't skip the commercials or skip the ads or skip the previously on. I'm gonna let all that stuff go through. All right. Let me change the background for a second. There we go. There we go. So for those that are just at home, it's showing the previously on with last week's episode. So what? A minute into the episode, and previously on. Even watching that again last week, guys. And I'm so glad people are praising Nico Parker, correct me if I'm wrong, who played Sarah last week. I'm so happy that she's getting a recognition because that's a lot to do to have a young actress like that come in, make an impact, and make people care. I thought she was great. Bright future ahead of her, for sure. All right, we got 72 people in here. Do your boy a favor. Hit that thumbs up for your boy. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Jay. I'm if there any Perry Mason fans out there, I am a Perry Mason fan. So I'm hoping to cover season 2, but very excited for that. It's coming out in March, I believe. I was just jumping right into it. Is this a flashback? Like we got a cold open last week? Indonesia, 2003. I can't remember. When did the virus spread? Was it in September? Is it the same day that it spread? I'm loving these cold opens every week. If we get this every week, because this is not, to my knowledge, this isn't a video game thing. Just like last week's intro wasn't a video game thing. So, is she like a doctor? They need her assistance. I'm assuming she's a doctor, and they let her know that there's something going on. Or maybe not. She actually she's committing a crime. Okay, yeah, she's a professor. Okay. So they do need her, probably. They're the right person. I would think they would at least told her, like, we we got a situation going on, but I mean, I'm sure she's about to find out. It's gonna be something like she's never seen before. Yeah, well, so you're about to find out. I love that they're giving us the backstory of the fungal spreading. This is just so much needed context. I love this. She gonna come alive? Or was that? Looks like a she. I don't know. Is it he or she? No, it's a guy. Never mind. Never mind. It's a her. Oh damn! It's about to go down, y'all. Mm-hmm. It was bit by a human. This is great. This is great. Oh goddamn. Why would you drop it? She like, I'm out of here. I've seen enough. Goddamn. By the way, guys, Neil Druckmann, who did the co-creator of the video game, he directed tonight's episode. So this is gonna be really cool to see the expert himself. Flowering game, yep. Flowering, and then grain is where it's spread. Oh boy, are we gonna see him? You have to kill him. Yeah. Oh boy, it's 14 of them. Sheesh. I love the slow panning in of just kind of the. You brought you here to help us keep this from spreading. I was just slowly panning in, showing this wide scope, and everything is coming all together. Like she just knows this is not good. He says it's too late or something. I have spent my life studying these things. She ain't never seen nothing like this before. She about to let him know there's nothing you could do now. Yeah. Whew. Pray. Bomb. Oh my gosh. Just blow up everyone. Start bombing. Jeez. Bomb this city. And everyone in a. I got chills, y'all. God damn. Literally, I'm not gonna see that, man. Can you just I don't know if it's just a little bit because of obviously what we've been through as a society the last 3 years and we're still in it. Just man. Mm. She's great. Whoever this actress is fantastic. These openings back to back have been fantastic, man. Let me just while this beautiful intro plays. Whoever that actress was fantastic. I'm loving these cold opens because again, this is for my video game fans out there, those that might not play the video game. You were given information about how the virus spread, but it was like via newspapers, radio playing in the background, but it was never like explicit of like building this type of understanding of where it started. So this is great context. This is great kind of fleshing out things, understanding things. So 2 for 2 for these openings, man. And like I said, for the video game fans out there, the co-creator of the game is directing tonight's episode. So let's see if he has a future in directing. He's so far so good in my eyes. That was fantastic, man. That's how you start a show. That's how you start a show, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. 100% good. Yeah. Oh, my man, Michael. Black Gay Comic Geek in the building. What's going on, Michael? Tonight's episode was crazy. Loved it. Shout out to my man, Michael. Subscribe to his channel. Check out his social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all this stuff. The homie Michael from Black Gay Comic Geek. God damn. Wake up to people. That's not creepy. Straight to it, Joel. I mean, I don't blame him. You got to take precautions, but I mean, obviously she doesn't show the symptoms. Yeah, he's still suffering from last week's events, PTSD. Hmm. Cold blooded, Joel. Cold blooded. Yeah, she eating good. It's like a straight out of Subway. I love the arc, man. That hopefully we're going to be seeing over these next couple weeks is how so distant he is from Ellie. Like he does not care for her at all. Bella Ramsey, do your damn thing. That is funny. That's funny. That's funny. Right, Sam? I'm like, man, she got a BLT in Apocalypse, y'all. All right, so this is what we're gonna see the scope and the scale, man, of the HBO budget. So far, so good. Looks pretty clean. CGI. Well, I don't want to break the illusion. This is This is real. They shot on that location. No, but it looks good. The backdrop of the buildings collapsing. Bro, does he not sound like the Mandalorian right now? I could take you in cold. I could take you in hot. I can't do a good Mandalorian impersonation, but he sounded like Din right now. That looks like a straight out of a video game. That kind of them blurry in the forefront. Definitely more to that story. We might see a couple of those, maybe. Right, Scale? You got the Mandalorian vibes, the voice. Obviously, it's him, but yeah, that's what I was saying. As far as just that context, is this something that we rarely get in a lot of these apocalyptic zombie-ish type of stories. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Kate, we say, I wonder how much would be. Me too. Very curious to see. That's where you draw the line. Dirty water. I'm loving the hints of comedy, man. I appreciate it. The cat says hi. Well, hi to the cat, Kate. You are. I mean, let's just stick to the mission, Ellie. She is a kid, though. We got to remember that. She is a kid. And it's crazy to think about that. She's 14. She doesn't know a world that hasn't been affected, right? Such an interesting kind of perspective of obviously her being around two people that know what the world was like prior to the, stuff hitting the fan and her being born in it, being molded by it. What Mike say? Even in Apocalypse Pedro, skill is high. Hey man, He's everyone's zaddy, right, Mike? That's what he's been quoted, man. He is him. This scene is so much like the game. Yeah, I love the shout out to the co-creator. Doing too much, yeah, like making too much noise, Ellie. Let's stay focused. Yeah, for sure, Tim. For sure. And again, for those video game players out there like myself, a lot of this, like these little moments here, to me is just like so reminiscent of just, obviously walking around, going through buildings, exploring different things. This is definitely capturing that essence of being a game player, right? And you got the moments in the game where it's like, all right, you got to, you get some backstory between the characters while someone else is exploring something, as we're seeing Tess do now. So we're going to probably see Joel and Ellie start to build a little bit of that relationship. So I appreciate these scenes like this. Such a smart Alec. Hey man, that's the name. I have the first one. I haven't played the second one, but I played the first one a couple times. Couple times. Uh, Come here, buddy. It's an interesting question. Yeah. But after a while, it's just part of your daily routine, right? Come here, buddy. Wow. Jeez. That's a good point. You know what I love about this kind of different interpretation of Tess and Joel and all the characters is that they, again, I haven't played the video game in quite a few years, but there is a sense of compassion for both these characters because I do remember, especially Tess, her being much more of a stern, hard ass, and wouldn't have a moment like that. She's explaining, like, listen, little girl, stay on point, stay on cue, don't F around, you know. But she also, she cares for her a little bit. So I appreciate them showing this a little bit more the humane side of these characters. It's very kind of love the detail. Love the detail. It should be fun. Yeah, it should be fun. Okay, it should be fun tonight. Excited to get into the discussion. Yeah, the dog. He's a character. Yeah, especially with them being so connected. Yeah, totally agree with you, man. Jeez. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's going on, Film Age? Yeah, the lighting, the production value has been pretty spot on so far. Um, and Neil's direction, y'all, is pretty solid. What's up, Zia? Yes. Ooh. Shh, gotta be silent. Jeez. HBO does not spare a penny when it comes to these shows, man. Great job by the art department. Jesus, kid. It's a good question. I don't know why they're going upstairs and not going the straight path, but got to build that suspense and tension. Well, only one way out of here now. Oh, this is the shot from the trailer from like a year ago. Yeah, when they're gonna, yeah, this is that same shot. Clickety clickety clack clack clack. They picked the perfect director to direct this episode to give us our first look at. Yeah, this should. All right. The sound design is excellent. Oh man, let me hold on. Let me get situated here. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Oh. I'm speechless right now. I literally feel like I'm watching a video game come to life. I love that it's practical effects with the clickers, yo. This is oh Neil's coming through, guys, on the direction, man. I love the practicality. Jesus. And the sound design. I have my headphones on, so it's just perfect sound design. It might be a little bit of CGI, just a little bit, but it's so hard to notice. Oh, that sound is so perfect. So creepy. Yeah, that's the same shot that we got from like a year ago. We finally get to see it in live action. God damn it, Joel. Jeez. Where's Tess? There she is. Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, this is awesome. Great, great, great scene, man. Goodness. Tension, suspense, impeccable sound design, amazing production for the clickers. I think it's safe to say, if we didn't know it last week, pretty much concrete. We're in good hands moving forward. Just a tease of what's to come. That was great. That was great, man. Yeah, spot on. Y'all seem to love they took. Oh yeah, I see Michael. I see your comment here with the yeah, they alluded to that it's gonna be different. They're not gonna be wearing a mask just because I think they said they talked to some medical experts and it just made more sense not to incorporate that in the show. And apparently we're gonna have like a different version of that in the show. So yeah, because I think someone asked a question about the yeah. So yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. A little CGI, but it's very not noticeable, cleaned up from the screeners. So it's good to hear. Yeah, DC, that was awesome. I'm still tensed up. It was great. It was great. This is really about to be the new Walking Dead. Maybe before Glenn died. What a moment of television that was. That was another shot from the video game, if I'm not mistaken. Them walking in the street like that. Picture perfect. They got executed, looks like. This is no. Jeez. Mm. I don't remember this happening this early in the game. Oh, like I said, it's been a minute. God damn. I'm trying to remember if it happened this early in the game. Oh boy. Oh boy. Jesus. Just trying to recollect my memory. Save who you can save. Like I said, it's been a minute since I played the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't. I mean, I like this newer sacrifice from her, but it was different in the game, right? Cause one it was like, yeah. Come on, get the damn. Come on, get the. God damn it! What is she doing? Come on. Damn. R.I.P. Test, y'all. I mean, I knew it was coming. I thought it was different though. Wasn't it like soldiers or something? I can't remember, man. It's been a minute. Damn, R.I.P. Test, man. God damn it. I didn't know it was gonna be this early. And then you gotta just put yourself in Ellie's shoes. Like she was the one that seemed to at least care for her well-being the most between the two, and now she has to go on this journey with this guy who really can care two shits about her. That's that's a great follow-up episode from a great premiere. We're gonna briefly watch a little after show because I want to. I'm pretty confident. Again, I haven't played the game in quite a while, but I'm pretty confident to say that the way that they killed Tess is much different than they did in the game. I can't remember the particulars, but I do know I remember she sacrificed herself, but I don't remember playing it out like that. But man, what a suspenseful, gripping, but also very informative episode, right? Especially the beginning of the episode, which I'm loving these cold opens. Um, but man, I can't applaud enough the clickers in this episode were probably the MVP for me, if I'm being honest, as well as great performances. We'll talk about that tonight in the after show. But man, I really, really enjoyed tonight's production aspect a lot. Like I said, guys, we're gonna watch this little after show thing just because I'm just very curious on if there was a difference between the. Pretty sure there was a difference between the video game Tess dying and how she died in the show. But I just want to get confirmation on that, and then we're gonna have our after show. See what the trailer is. Hey, Thor, get from back there. Oh yeah, my man Nick Offerman. It's, I think he's playing Bill. Looks good. I heard episode 3 is fantastic from everything I heard. Yeah, I want to see the behind the scenes of creating the clickers. Yeah. Yep. 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 Perfectly said. We're just watching a little behind the scenes inside the episode. I just want to see kind of the production value of tonight's episode. And then we'll take a little break and we'll have our after show. The design was impeccable. For everyone just tuning in, we're just watching the after show of the creation of the clickers, which was something I want to get some insight on. They did a great job of bringing that to life. Okay, I'm talking about the fungus spreading. So right now, for those that are just tuning in, they're talking about the fungus and how they're separating it from the game and the lack of the spores in the game to the show. Hmm, that makes sense. Hmm. I love that they did the research to kind of explain why we have the lack of the changes they made. That's pretty smart. I knew it was the military. Okay, I knew that her death was slightly changed. Right, right. Sorry for the silence, guys. I'm just watching inside the episode as they're discussing the changes and the expansion of test and her decision in tonight's episode. And again, just a reminder, we're gonna be going live, continuing tonight's live and having our after show in about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll take a quick break after this and gather back up to talk about it with some special guests, by the way. Hey, shout out to Tess. Rest in peace, Tess. I really do appreciate the expansion of the character that they expressed. So listen, guys, that's the tonight's episode. That's our inside the episode kind of viewpoint and commentary on that. But we are gonna go live. I'm gonna continue tonight's live. I'm just gonna take a quick little bathroom break. And we will be talking about the episode with some special guests that I'm going to be inviting tonight. So before we take our quick little break, hit the thumbs up, leave your thoughts in the comments. As we're taking our break, put your score of tonight's episode in the chat. Like I said, we're going to have our after show here in a bit. I'm just going to take a quick little bathroom break, and then we'll be talking about tonight's episode. So we're going to take a little break, and I will see you guys in like 5 minutes. 5 minute countdown, restroom breaks, refreshments, and we'll be continuing tonight's discussion in the live after show. So I'll see you guys on the other side. 5 minute break. I'll see you guys in a bit. me see. Is the mic working yet? Is the mic working? Is the mic working? Let's see. Audio. It should be good now. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me, and I'll rewind everything I just said. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. I guess my mic was unplugged. Let me see. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. Yes, can now hear. All right, sweet. Let me just rewind what I said. Put your scores in the chat from a scale to 1 to 10. What would you rate tonight's episode? And as I was talking to myself there for a second, I thanked everyone for joining the watch party. And appreciate you all that's carrying over from the watch party, or if you're watching us for tonight's after show, appreciate you all as well. Just a reminder to like, share, comment, all that fun stuff. We're going to have some special guests joining us here in a second, some first timers. I'm excited to get their thoughts on the episode, but my apologies for the mic not working there. You know, it's live, baby. We make those mistakes sometimes, right? But again, if you can put your score of tonight's episode in the chat, and the skin, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing, and everything in between. So put your scores there. And in the meantime, I'm going to send out my link to a couple people that reached out to me this past week to join tonight's discussion. So, and there are 2 people that are going to be making their first time on the channel. So we're going to get to meet them and talk to them and have a discussion with them. So I'm sending out the link now, and we'll be bringing them in shortly. But again, guys, if you can go ahead and let me know what you would rate tonight's episode on a scale of 1 to 10. As I was talking to myself there for a second, I just my brief thoughts. I thought the direction was pretty solid by Neil. To my knowledge, I think Neil has maybe done some smaller things, but nothing on this scale. I'm referring to Neil Druckmann, who is the co-creator of the game and also one of the executive producers of the show and the writers of the show and all that stuff. He made his direction tonight, and I thought he did a great job. I also thought, and I mentioned it in the watch along, that the expansion of Tess in tonight's episode really was something that I thought was great, and they talked about that in the after show, allowing that character to have a little bit more humane to her, a little bit more hopeful nature to her. So I appreciate that. We'll talk about that in tonight's watch after show. But the thing that blew me away, this is HBO, right? This is probably, if not the best network, in my opinion. You know, AMC, you know, streamers, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, great stuff, Disney Plus. But HBO is the king. HBO is the king in my eyes, and they flexed that muscle tonight. That production in tonight's episode was nothing short of spectacular. I'm referring to the sound design of the clickers. I'm referring to the practicality mixed in with very little CGI in tonight's episode. I'm referring to the sets, you know, all the different designs and the you know, the apocalyptic, you know, city. The production to me was the MVP. And that isn't taking anything away from Tess, Joel, Ellie, all the different performances we got in tonight's episode, which we'll talk about. But from a productional standpoint, this was amazing. I cannot stress enough how amazing, because I was listening to it in my headphones. The sound design of those clickers are, and again, to my other side, to my video game fans out there, boop, oh my goodness, what a spot for spot, dot for dot, 10 for 10 interpretation of the clickers in the video game brought to life. Wow. I mean, wow. Like, you know what? I'll just show you guys. We did it in the after show, but let me just go ahead and applaud the production. Listen, if you can give awards out tonight for the Emmys, go ahead and get into production. Their due diligence, their awards, man. And also Neil, like I said, the direction was great. So, man, what a good job there. So let me read off some of these comments here in regards to the score, and we'll get into the discussion. Like I said, I sent the link out to my guests, and they'll hopefully be joining us here in a second. But I'm trying to scroll up from the scores, and we'll read them off here. So Rachel, she gave it a Rachel Nicole gave it a 9. My man Jay Manley gave it a 9. Voice gave it a 7. Okay. Interesting. We got an 8 from Tim. We got an 8 here. Okay. Xavier with the 8. Ooh, we got a 10 out of 10 from my man Mario. Mayan gave it a 10. I got you. Let's see here. And I'm reading all the muted ones. All right, let's see. Mario, like say, gave it a 10. Jake gave it a 10. Johnny gave it an 8. I'm seeing a lot of eights, a lot of nines, some 10s there. This is you all seem to like it. I rated 10 mushrooms. Nice. All right, so we got our first guest in the back room. Like I said, I had a couple people reach out to me in this past week saying that they would love to join, and I always love to have new people on, get their opinions, and get to meet some awesome people. So without further ado, let me bring our first guest here. Coming in. Oh, is that here? How we doing?
Hey, good evening.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I know, like I said, you reached out earlier in the week to join, and we made it happen.
Absolutely. I was like, when I seen your message, I was just like, yes, let's get this. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready to talk about it. Anything
Awesome.
horror, I'm
I was
here.
going to
Let's
say, I've
go.
seen your channel, and you speak my language. Horror is my jam. So before we get into the discussion, why don't you introduce yourself to the people and let them know where they can find your content and what you're all about?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Kima K. Bly. I am one half of the Horror and Hooch podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Horror and Hooch, and our YouTube channel, The Fifth Wall LLC. So we have the audio podcast and we have the visual podcast.
Awesome. Like I said, horror, grew up with horror, love every sense of horror, whether slashers, zombie stuff. So, like I said, when I saw that you were a horror fan, I'm like, yes, we got to get her on. We got to hear her thoughts in there. And by the time this video is fully uploaded, I'll go ahead and put your link and everything in the description so
Thank
everyone
you.
can, check you out. So, I guess the first question I have for you is, what did you think about tonight's episode? And also, were you familiar with the game, played the game? Let us know.
I've heard of the game, but I have not played it before.
Gotcha.
But I'm usually have, and that's sad to say, I usually have low expectations of film adaptations of video games.
Rightfully so.
Sometimes I don't always expect it to be well done,
Right.
but this one was pretty good. I was like, okay, it's some money and some acting and some writing and producing behind this. So we off to a good start in my book.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so interesting too, knowing that you're not from the video game, and just, I guess, how has the journey been so far as these first 2 episodes for you? Again, not having to play in the game, are you surprised by, like you just mentioned, some of the acting, being a horror fan? Do you feel like they're building a suspense? Like, how do you feel, again, not being from the video game lore? How do you feel like the show's been handling all those aspects so far?
Well, when I seen that 2 of the main characters were from Game of Thrones, that
Yeah.
pretty much set the standard for me. I said, so we got to be going in the right direction.
Right.
And then the pilot episode, the way it started by giving us that scientific background.
Yes.
I like stuff like that.
Context is
I
key,
like
right?
I like to get info like that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the backstory, give me the scientific things behind it. And
Right.
so that good first bit of the first episode really had me.
Mm-hmm.
But this second one, it knocked it out of the park for me. I'm
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah, that open. I'm loving these cold openings. Again, I have I am a fan of the, I'm trying to get these angles right. I am a fan of the game. And from horror and zombie, different interpretations, whether it's movies and shows. That's one of the things that they don't always elaborate on is, okay, what are we dealing with? What kind of infection are we dealing with? Where did it start? Did anyone try to stop it before it really kind of popped off? And like you mentioned, these 2 episodes back to back, from starting off, I believe it was 1968 last week, with the doctor explaining, it is possible that something like this can happen. If so, there's a very low chance of survival rate. And then in tonight's episode, I can't remember when we were introduced into 2003 last week, but it's probably within a day or so before things really popped off. But I love that we got to meet that scientist briefly and seeing how serious the situation is when she said, when the police officer said, how do we stop this? What do we do to survive?
Exactly.
Bomb everything.
When I saw that she was scared, that meant that I need to be scared too.
Exactly. So I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm very curious, because I haven't seen some of my YouTube buddies and critics out there have seen the whole season, I believe. And I haven't. This, I'm watching this live with you all, so
Same.
I don't know if we're gonna get more of these kind of cold openings.
I hope
I
so.
would, yeah, I would say I would hope so, and just to kind of get a little bit more of that context and just different perspectives from scientists, local
And
people, different
yeah, and
countries,
showing us
different
where
worlds.
different places in the world. So
I
I
say
think
different
that
worlds,
that was a
different, yeah,
good, yeah,
yeah,
different, areas, because
yep,
it wasn't just solely focused on this person and where they were in the
exactly.
world, but just showing us like how this fungus is affecting
Hmm.
everybody.
Yep. And I mean, again, and it's not to, I know the obvious one for one comparison is The Walking Dead, which was a great show for many, many seasons, but
Yeah.
you never really understood any of the context. Where did the zombie apocalypse start? So, again, these two episodes is really kind of laying the groundwork of how things got started. Again, how someone like a scientist would say, as Stress puts here, bomb the city. That's how we solve this from
And
spreading.
it's like, and
Yeah,
the virus is different because it's not like just regular zombie virus where you don't
right.
really know what the virus itself looks like. But when
Hmm.
it's that gruesome, fungusy,
Yeah.
grotesque looking thing, it makes your skin crawl that much more.
Yes. Yes. And one of the things I mentioned in the watch along that we had tonight, and that I said briefly up top is, and we'll kind of break down the episode, but just right off the bat, I want to get your thoughts on production, the production value. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about the HBO not, playing short change with the production, but I just thought that tonight's sound
Mhm.
design, the practicality with a little bit of CGI with the clickers was
Mhm.
just pretty immaculate. What did you think about tonight's production aspect and how they were able to bring so many of these, otherworldly kind of things you wouldn't imagine to see on a small screen being played out this way?
I thought that it was executed perfectly when they went into that house, and it reminded me of playing video games like Resident Evil, when it's
Mhm.
like, okay, we open the door, we don't know what's going to be behind it, and everybody is quiet. And I'm sitting here watching this. I'm quiet too. They're quiet, I'm quiet, and my puppy is squeaking his toy. And I'm like, in my mind, we're quiet. You got to be quiet with us because we don't know
Yeah.
what's coming out. So I thought
Yeah.
and then it's like when that first creature came out and it came at you, and it's
Hmm.
not just, it's like an infected person, and we're used to zombie
Right.
special effects, but to see something look fungusy, how can you not have your skin just like, ooh, what is this? Like, you don't want anything like that to even touch you.
Agreed. Agreed. And just taking it back a little bit as we talked about with the doctor here and just seeing that fear in her eye and just being like,
Right.
this is something
Yeah.
that is uncurable. There's no vaccines. There's really no hope. And it like you said, it set the tone for me in tonight's episode. That sense of hopelessness, which is something that is hard to convey. Obviously we know it's a fictional story, but it does have a layer of reality and also it's tangible. And I thought this young actress, this person on the screen now, just did a great job of just showing, like you mentioned, that fear, that hopefulness or lack of hope being conveyed. And man, look at that fungus. It's pretty gross. It is pretty gross.
It is. We've never really seen nothing, and it touches on people's like phobia, like for like the
Yeah.
people that have trypophobia. It's like I can't look at this. Like you're just it's like you can watch that on silent and be
Mhm.
completely grossed out by looking at it, and it just by the visuals, it's like I'm grossed out, but I need to see where this is going.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. But getting a little bit more into the depths, into the weeds here, and kind of touching on, and we'll get back to these to production design. But what do you think about our characters this week, and particularly the development of Joel and Ellie? We know Joel's very heartless right now. He doesn't have any time for Ellie's cuteness and kind of oblivious nature to her. He's just like, listen, this girl makes one sound, she messes up one time, I will not hesitate to put her down. What did you think about Joel and Ellie, and as well as Tess in tonight's episode?
I and thinking about The Walking Dead because that's my show. Joel kind of has this we're in an apocalypse attitude.
Hmm.
And it's like you have to do what you have to do to survive.
Right,
You don't just walk around with infected people because we know how dangerous it is.
right.
And to him, Ellie is an infected person. She's
Hmm.
dangerous. We
Hmm.
don't just walk around with somebody that's going to kill us. We take care of it and we survive. And Tess in her mind is almost like that balance of Rick Grimes. It's like, okay, we survived for what
Mm,
reason?
right.
What happens in the after? We get to a safe
Yep.
place, and then what? What goes on after that? Because
Hmm.
are we just surviving day to day to live, or do we want things to get better in our situation? And I think I felt like those dynamics with them, like the
Hmm.
because they're it's like neither one of them are wrong though.
Right. Yeah, Joel has every reason to have the precautions that he's taken,
Hmm.
because, like you mentioned, it's been 20 years. He's been living in this world. No
Hmm.
one probably has lost. Obviously, we know he lost Sarah before it all hit the fan, but also he's probably been other friends and people he's met throughout the way that he's lost due to this virus. But just curious, before we get back into the discussion, did you continue to watch The Walking Dead all the way up to its finale, or did you stop at any point? Just very
Oh,
curious.
all the way through. I
All the
was
way through.
invested all the way through. Once you're invested,
Hey,
I had
listen.
to keep going.
I hear you. I'm never that person that likes to bail on the show after I was invested in a show like you, but after a while, I just couldn't take it. It just felt the same old thing. But I did hear, for a lot of the fans that stayed on board like yourself, it definitely picks up in the last few seasons, from what I've heard.
Hmm.
But it
Hmm.
sounds like to you, you never bailed ship, so it was probably always just hitting on a level for you. So I'm glad it did it. And I haven't seen the finale, but did it stick the landing for you personally, sticking on board these last 12 seasons, 13 seasons?
It was, of course, because I felt like it almost slowed down a little bit
Hmm.
when we left Rick when he
Yeah.
left the show,
Oh, that's my boy.
but
Girl,
when they
boy.
introduced right when they introduced the Whisperers,
Mm,
that it was like a game changer almost,
mhm.
because their introduction of the show, when everybody thought there were zombies, but when it was people wearing the zombie
Wearing the
mask,
skin, yeah.
and you don't really know who to trust at that point, it literally changed the dynamics of the show. It's like, okay, now if this is a zombie horde, are they zombies, or are they real people?
Mm,
So I liked how they paced that, and this series finale was almost not even a series finale, because they have like three spinoffs in the
right, they
works.
got, like, 19 other things in the works
So
with
they're like, we're gonna kind of like wrap it up, but we're
yeah,
gonna like
still leave the
not.
door open.
There's still like loose ends.
Yeah, interesting. What you're telling me is I should go back and get back on the Walking Dead train. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, you
Okay, I might.
don't
I
expect
might.
the dynamics of the first few seasons.
Right,
Like, I
right,
mean,
right.
those first few seasons are
Excellent.
untouchable
Excellent. Yeah,
completely. But just
yeah.
know that the change of pace in the show,
Mhm.
um, it's not as bad as people thought it was. It's just that, of course, we're gonna miss Glenn, we miss Rick, we
Oh,
miss
yeah.
all those people we care about, we miss
Right, right, right.
Michonne. But when
Mhm.
you realize some of those people coming back,
Oh, yeah.
some of them
Yeah.
people not gone, it kind of like changes your perspective of the show.
Okay, you selling me. I'm gonna have to find time one of these days to get back onto, because I would like to see that Rick and Michonne show. But anyway, getting off the Walking Dead train, because that is a deeper conversation there. You mentioned Tess a little bit earlier, and you mentioned the comparison and contrast, but fighting for the same fight. And Tess in this episode, I think that she, and having played the game, and it's been, and by the way, when I'm saying I played the game, it's been a long time. So I'm not like an expert in remembering every single scene. But what I do remember from the Tess character, she was a lot more heartless. She was a lot more cold in
Mm.
regards to her interactions with Ellie. And what I love about this episode, and you touched on it, they're showing you the hope that she has.
Mhm.
Very early on, when she's having these conversations with Joel about pushing forward and finding these tasks and in her home. This isn't my home, right? I really enjoyed what we got from
Exactly.
Tess. I wish I didn't know it was going to happen, so I knew that she was going to die. And by the way, it was a different death to her in the game that was in tonight's episode. But just your thoughts, again, touching on that hope that we get from her. What did you think about Tess in tonight's episode, and her interactions with Joel and Ellie?
I would say if we had her for like until the end of the season, people would be really, really hurt that she died, because she had that
Yeah,
potential to
yeah.
like pull at your heartstrings
Hmm.
because of that hope. Because we knew she was the one that's like, "W- I'm striving for the after. Like, I know we're
Yeah,
living for today, but there has to be something on the other side."
yeah.
And it's that person that has that emotional connection.
Hmm.
And I think that like keeping her alive and then cutting her off later would have been more hurtful. We would have lost her
That's
later.
interesting because, and again, in the game, it does. I don't remember it happened so early on in the game, but it is one of the more major deaths after Sarah's death in the game. So it's very interesting, and not knowing that you haven't played the game, that you definitely would have loved to have gotten more tests, right?
Yes.
I agree. I agree.
And she
It
was
would
the
have.
balance for Joel,
Yeah.
because now without Tess, it's like we're just going to get his views unless he starts to kind of crack a little bit.
Right. Right. Which we do have. There's a couple more characters that we're going to be meeting soon that will probably be that balance that you're looking for. But it is a very interesting point that you bring up that and that's always the kind of the gift and curse about when you shoot a TV show. You've already shot it, even if a fans gravitate towards someone, it's kind of hard to go back and being like, damn, we can't undo that. We can't unkill the character. But I definitely agree. It would have been nice to maybe get a couple more, one or two, because again, it is very pivotal to Joel's progression for the character. Because like you just mentioned, with him not having that type of character to balance him, is going to be very interesting to see, okay, can he be that test now to a Ellie in the situation? Can he kind of loosen up the reins a little bit and kind of show her that she's in good hands? So shout out to Tess, RIP to her. She definitely did her thing, and we'll get to that scene when she sacrificed herself a little bit later. But I want to get your thoughts on Ellie. How do you feel about this again, Miss Bella, who was man? I remember seeing her in Game of Thrones. Who is this kid? Whoever she is, she's going to be a star. And fast forward to here we are. She's Ellie in the show. I really enjoyed this. I love Ellie in the game, and I love how Bella's kind of bringing out that, she is still a kid. Obviously she's in a zombie apocalyptic world, but she grew up in this world. So she doesn't know anything outside of this world. So I'm loving the balance of kind of that kid. And it can be annoying, don't get me wrong, when the kids are doing all this, like, can you just be quiet, kid, and just stick on track? But what did you think of the levity that we got from Ellie, and just in general, how you like, maybe not liking the character so far?
I feel like she is what you would have to get from a child being raised in an apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what kind of personality of a child do you expect to get? Because they're living in a harsh world.
Right.
And so, thinking about Joel's daughter, she seemed very kind-hearted, very warm, very caring, very considerate. And then now you have Ellie, who is just like, this world is crap.
Yeah.
I know it is. I'm just trying to survive like you guys.
Right.
Got it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little different because, Joel is in his mind, the standard for a teenage daughter is so much it's so much different from what's right in front of him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be kind of off-putting because he's just like, she's rude, she's selfish, she's, snooty, sarcastic. Why does she have to be like this? My daughter would never. But this is a child this is what she's seen for the past few years.
That's all she knows.
This is what she knows.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Right. No, I agree. Because she doesn't know the before the apocalypse, right? Like you said, if Sarah was still with us, she would be like Joel, right? She probably would have lived those 20 years of seeing all the harsh loss, all the regrets that Joel probably deals with. But Ellie, again, just being born in this world is kind of like, she's much different than Sarah. And to kind of answer my own question, I'm really enjoying Bella so far. I saw some of the criticism last week on some people feeling that she hasn't really embraced Ellie, but I think she has, and even has added her own sensibilities to the character so far. And I love the little comedic beats that we got in tonight's episode. First off, I didn't know you get those type of sandwiches in the zombie apocalypse, the BLT straight from Subway. But no, I really enjoy the clicker moment where like one little twitch, and she does that. So I'm really enjoying the snarkiness, very, very a la to the game, but also enjoying the sensibility that Bella's bringing to the role. So you would say are you a fan of Ellie so far, even minus the kind of the teenageisms of being somewhat annoying at points and not listening to the adults?
Yes, I do. I think that she brings an element of fun there because you have to give her look at her for where she is. Of course, you wouldn't want anybody walking around loud, making all this noise and being rude to you, but she's a kid still.
Right.
So if
Right.
you're tagging along a kid, you're gonna get kid things. Um,
Exactly.
and I really think that she has this big personality that stoic Joel is not used to.
Hmm.
But I like the balance there, and she's different from even Tess was. She's
Right.
literally different, a different vibe than what was
Hmm.
going on in their little crew. So
Mhm.
I'm here for
100%.
it.
100%. And just to backtrack a little bit on the Ellie reveal, how did you feel the show, at least is handling this idea that she could be the cure? Knowing that, again, Joel, he's heard it 1,000
Mhm,
times, the vaccine is a cure out there.
mhm.
And, Ellie having to essentially being the cure potentially. How do you feel like the show is handling that particular kind of mystery box? Do you believe she's the one, again, not having played the game? Do you believe she is the one? Or do you think there's a little bit more to that?
I kind of have, it's like two different things brewing in my mind. Number one, I like that they know that that's what the purpose is, and that she kind of
Mhm.
knows that too. Like, hey, I'm infected, but ain't nothing really happened yet.
Right.
So, like, she's like, so I can roll with y'all because nothing has really happened. So, like, they kind of have this understanding that she has been bitten,
Right.
but nothing's happened. So, I like that they have this awareness.
Mhm.
But it's like always my thing of, can we trust who we're about to hand her over to, or who we're trying to get
Right.
her to?
Right. Mhm. Yeah, there's been many of shows and movies that we've seen the mission to get one person from A to Z, and on that
Mhm.
journey, you get close to the person, and once you got to really, I mean, hell, we got Pedro Pascal for any Mandalorian fans. Little baby Yoda, aka Grogu, was supposed to be handed off to someone, but didn't couldn't do it. He got attached to Grogu, as did the world. So I think we're definitely seeing that type of relationship that might play out between when it is time to deliver her the goods. Maybe he's not going to be so ready to get her off his hands. So it's going to be really interesting to see that
Right.
dynamic. And I definitely agree with you that the way they're handling the reveal, as far as is she the cure, is she not, is going to be very, very fascinating to see moving on. But we touched a little bit on the production, a little bit, and we'll kind of get into it now. What did you think, going back to just the scope and the scale? Did you feel as though shots like this with the abandoned buildings, the bombs being dropped in Boston, how did you feel the show handled that, kind of just the scope of it all? Did you feel like you felt the gravity of it, or did it feel a little overboard, or maybe too much
I
CGI?
did. I feel like it made us feel like it's just us. So like
Mhm.
the way that they shot things is just like it's us in it together, and then it's them out there. It's the
Mm.
infected.
Right.
It's like it puts you into that, like, this is like, it's not, we're not playing around here. We
Yeah.
are really in a zone where it's like we're trying to survive because it's some bad stuff out there. And
Right.
it brings that, like, makes you want to be like, or like close to people. It's almost,
Hmm.
when that those horror movies are like, oh, let's spread out, and you go search here and you go search there. And in my mind, I'm
Yeah.
just like, please don't let them do that. Please,
Right.
please don't say you go this way, we're gonna meet up later. Cause it's like when they give you the big scope of things,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I don't
Stick
want to
together.
separate. We're
Right.
sticking together with this.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. I love how the show so far in these two episodes, and I should have known this because HBO, House of Dragon, Game of Thrones, so many
Mhm.
big scope and scales of shows they've tackled. But I'm still very impressed. Just because I expect it doesn't mean that it's going to always deliver. So I thought just to how they show just the abandonment of the city, just the lostness, everything just being so, with the greens and the buildings being destroyed. It's just really kind of putting you in that mood that an abandoned world. This is an apocalyptic world, and I thought that they did a beautiful job of conveying that.
Mhm.
And we talked about Tess, we talked about Bella, but just kind of backtracking to episode one and into this episode, how are you enjoying, or maybe not enjoying, Pedro Pascal? As we said in the watch along, everyone's zaddy. He's everyone's zaddy out there. How do you feel like he is portraying this character, and how do you maybe what are some things you're enjoying about the Joel character and what Pedro is bringing to the role?
I want to learn more about him, even
Mm.
from that first episode, because we already saw that he had a daughter and the mother wasn't around. So I feel
Right.
like he has an like this whole vibe of this shell around who he really is.
Right.
He's holding, but it makes you want to know who is it though? What
Who
is
is
it?
Joel? Right. Right.
What have you been through? What
Right.
have you seen? Because we know you've lost some things,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I really want, and I don't know if we're gonna get it, but I would love more backstory on him.
That is something that I mentioned last week when we went from 2003 to 2020 or 23 now. I was like, man, that would be, I'm really interested to know if they're going to ever explore, because I'll be honest with you, in the video game, they never really explore that 20-year gap. They mentioned some things, but
Mm,
you never really, see it within the video game. And I haven't played the second one. Part two, I think they said they might elaborate on it, but I'm very curious to know. The show does going to take some twists and turns, and obviously we've gotten two cold opens that had nothing to do with the video game. Those two scenes that we saw in last week and tonight's episode. So I am very curious if we do get some of that backstory you're talking about with Joel, whether it was prior to the apocalypse, what happened in those 20 years. I would be very fascinated to see that. And hell, depending on the success of the show, maybe we can get a spinoff, Joel 20-year between,
right.
2003 and 2023. So, but overall, would you say, Pedro Pascal is giving you some things to look forward to every week in his portrayal as Joel?
Yes, I
Yeah.
for some reason I look forward to cracking pieces of him.
Yeah. Peeling that onion, right? And just learning more and more about him. Yeah.
I actually
I
look
agree.
forward to that for, learning more about what he's been through, what jobs he's been through, what things have he seen? Did he have
Right.
time to grieve for his daughter? So I'm like
Right.
looking forward to how much he's going to give us, because he's giving us very little pieces, but it's not to the point where it's just like, I don't care, you're not giving me enough. It's he's giving me
Mm-hmm.
just enough that
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to say, what else you got? Because I
What else
know
you got?
there's something
Right.
there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Listen, man, this has been a great conversation so far, guys. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, like, share. My guest, her information will be in the link in the bio once this video is fully uploaded. But a question I have for you. When it comes to these zombie shows and movies, we always come across these different situations where we got to go from A to B, but in between that, we got to cross between these type of things. Like, for example, green, nasty water. Are you crossing this? Is the question I have for you. Are you taking the risk of putting your foot in this water without knowing what's exactly in this water? I need to know.
Absolutely not. Cause see, and when I have to take it back to Walking Dead, that's how Bob got bit, when they was in that one house and they was in that water, and they ain't know it was somebody alive in that water. Why
Yeah.
you going if
Yeah.
you can't see clearly through the
Yeah.
bottom?
Yep.
I'm not doing it. Y'all gonna
Different
have to
route.
somebody put me
Mhm.
on your back or build like a little raft or something. But I'm not walking in nothing that I can't see what's at the bottom.
Agreed.
like are the
Agreed.
animals infected? Like, can something jump out from the water and bite me?
Hey.
Um, that was my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think in my head that I would be okay in an apocalyptic world, but there's certain things I just,
Mm-mm,
green,
mm-mm.
shadowy water that you can't really, what's in the water. I'm definitely with you. I don't think I'm making my way across. We're gonna have to go to another building, Joel and Tess. Y'all gonna have to carry me, like you said. I'm
Exactly.
gonna be on someone's shoulders. But no, in all seriousness, this is where we kind of get a little bit of a moment that I want to kind of touch on. Again, you touched on it earlier as far as the onions being peeled back from Joel. And again, being a video game player, it reminded me so much of the moments in any video game when you have a character has to go to get something and the other characters have to sit and kind of, that's where you get the
Mm-hmm.
backstory. So as you mentioned earlier, I like how, Ellie being a kid and being very curious on certain things, she's poking the bear. She's poking the bear. She's saying, hey, how long have you been in Boston? What was life like before Boston? These are the moments that I think we're going to get a lot of these next couple of weeks is Joel being, interrogated by young Ellie. What did you think of this moment here? And do you think eventually he's going to go ahead and let her know a little bit about who he is?
She is such a she's a child and a little girl. Cause let me tell you something. If little girls ain't gonna do nothing else, they're gonna ask you 50 million questions. And I thought that scene was just so genuine. And the thing is, it's like you answer one thing, they keep going. Like you have to literally stop them, because she
Yeah.
could have kept going until he literally told her the whole life story, and he wasn't ready
Right.
for all of that. But that's
Hmm.
genuine for her age. Like, they want to know, like, this guy that's supposed to be helping me. Like, I need
Hmm.
to know what's going on. I need to know you.
Right. And I mean, he's already established, or at least in last week's and even Tess in this episode, she said, listen, Ellie, we're not necessarily good people. We've done some things. And if I'm Ellie, I'm like, I need to know what y'all done. If I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping overnight. Y'all just sitting there looking at me with your guns in your hand. I need to know who I'm rolling with. So I definitely agree with you with Ellie and her curiosity. Yes, it is kind of that kid being curious on what's going on, but at the same time, it's smart on her part to know who she's rolling with, right?
And that's
So
also fosters how children form like these attachments to people, because the
right,
more they know you, the more they can feel comfortable. When they feel
exactly.
comfortable, they get more attached to you,
Hmm.
which in turn, like they're strangers now, but the more she finds out, the more she's going to feel comfortable and
Exactly.
wanting to be in his space and feeling attached to him. So,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
might come to that time where wherever they have to take her, or if they want to separate, if she's attached and comfortable, she's going to be like,
Right.
don't leave me with these people.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. Well said. Another thing also I forgot to mention. And again, I don't want to give away the answer, but I'm curious on if you picked up on a line earlier in the episode when they're going to this location here. They asked Ellie how she got bit. And Ellie just says, I went to this mall that was restricted. I shouldn't have been there. And, and she said she was by herself. So I need to know from you, do you think there's more to that story?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Hmm.
Because and that and that's when they're always vague with the details when they were
Right.
probably doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing. So I'm not going
Exactly.
to give you everything. I'm going to brush over the
Hmm.
details, because it's probably she felt like she was doing something wrong,
Hmm.
and then that happened. So she's not going
Hmm.
to tell the whole story about
Right.
what happened, because it's almost like I'm telling on myself, and I'll
Hmm.
get in trouble if I
Yeah.
tell you everything.
Yep. There's again not giving too much. There is definitely more to that story, and
Hmm.
I'm excited to get more of that story. So I just wanted to point that out because it was very, as you mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, I'm by myself. It was like, yeah, a little bit more that you might be leaving out. As Zia said, yeah, way more to the story. Vibe says she's talking about the DLC, which I haven't played the DLC, but I'm familiar with some of the stuff that happened in DLC that I think we're going to be getting based on trailers and photos and a particular casting of a particular actress that. May or may not have been in that mall with the character we're referring to with Ellie. So yeah, there's definitely something
Hmm.
more to that I'm excited to get into sooner rather than later, because it's the beauty of the show is who were these characters, where they come from, who have they interacted with before we got into this main story. So I'm very, very excited to get more from Ellie in the coming weeks. But this is something, again, being a fan of zombie content. We talked a little bit about The Walking Dead earlier. There's World War Z of the world. There's Army of the Deads. There's Dawn of the Deads. How did you like this? How they're explaining these infected? How it's almost like a hive mind, where if you step on a branch or step on a tree, it connects, and you might be confronting one infected person, but they can communicate with 100 others just miles away. How did you enjoy or interpret that kind of that fear that one would have, knowing that if you make one wrong move, that's maybe the end of your life?
Scientifically, I think that it works. It works with explaining viruses, which is not often done in movies with virus infections, because it's all about the survival. So they don't really go into detail a lot about the contagion specifically. And so
Mhm.
I think scientifically that works. And on the horror element, it makes it that much more creepy.
Yes. Yes. It is. So it is, and I watched. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the little inside the episode, but they Craig and Neil talked about as you just mentioned, scientifically. They went to the scientists and talked about the difference from the game is they had these things in the air that you have to wear masks, but obviously with a TV show you can't have your characters in mask all the time. This isn't. We have a Mandalorian, but he's not going to be in a mask in this show. But I love how they explain the fungus and how that they interpreted it to make it a little bit more grounded in reality. I really enjoyed that aspect and how they're kind of switching it up for the video game. So like you said, that is great that they added that in. And also, like you mentioned, we don't really get that in zombie shows and movies, right? It's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
explaining things. It's just like, of course, it's fun to get into the action and the horror and getting all the characters, but explain some things to us, man. And I'm loving it.
Exactly. Break
Yeah.
it break it down to me, the science, because to me that makes it that much more terrifying.
Hmm.
Because see, if they give it to us scientifically, going back to the beginning of this episode, we will be as afraid as that lady was.
Hmm.
If we know the truth about how this is going to affect people and the impact it's going to have on the world, it's like it makes it that much more like, okay, this is kind of creepy. This is
Yeah.
how are they going to get out of this if this is what we're up against?
Right. Right. And going back to something you mentioned earlier, just going back to the Tess character, how she again just different from the game, not really explaining things to Ellie, just it's a mission. You're just cargo.
Hmm.
She tells her the importance of this and just taking that
Hmm.
time to explain to her and stress to her, when we tell you to go this way, go left, you go left. When we tell you to look up, you look up. To be quiet. So she just really she
Hmm.
does is showing you that she is explaining this world to this young lady who hasn't been exposed to all these different elements of the world out there. So I thought that this again gives you more of tests and just giving you more from what the game, and not taking anything away from the game because it obviously had its amazing elements, these characters. But I love that we get moments like this from Tess to really kind of show you a different side of her. I love that element.
Hmm.
Definitely loved it. So now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the episode went from, oh man, this is really engaging. I'm loving the explanation. I'm loving the opening. I love the world building, the production. But then it went from, being around an 8 for me to just being skyrocketed to a 10. When I tell you, when we get to these clickers here, and just the building of suspense, building of the tension, and actually seeing it come to life. I just need to know, how did you enjoy and take in these clickers? And I know you're a big horror fan. Practicality is something that we love in the horror realm. Sometimes you can't get the perfect shot. You got to get some CGI. You got to build some visual effects. But the fact that they were able to get actors to portray these clickers was just amazing. How'd you feel about the production of our clickers in tonight's episode?
I liked it. They if you had to imagine what someone would be and look like if they were infected with a fungus, because that's like, how would that even look? And you have to think about, what does fungus look like? How would that look like coming out of people? That would be terrifying. And so it's like, it's interesting to see that. It's like, I don't know what to do with this, because I know what I'm used to looking at with viral infections. What's
Hmm.
happening here? It's like a different level of what you're up against because of how grotesque they look. And it's almost like, how can, in what ways can you be infected? And then knowing that once you're infected, like you're connected to all of them, it
Hmm.
really is just like, it makes you that much more afraid of them coming to bite you. It's
Mm.
like it makes the bite is just a little bit more different after that.
Well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And again, I'm just someone that appreciates productions of these type of caliber shows.
See,
And
look
I
at
mean,
that. See, that be setting off my trypophobia, everything. Just look at it. Just, oh my God.
yeah, you see this in the alley, you run the complete opposite way. Yeah, I thought that this was just incredible, not only from a productional visual standpoint, but again, we touched on it a little bit earlier and during the watch party tonight. I'm a sucker for sound design, and the sound design of the clickers was just nothing short of perfect. Again, having played the 2013 game, that was one of the things about this game, was just being in dark rooms, being in dark areas, not knowing what you're up against for the first time, and seeing these clickers was just this to me. Last week's episode was incredible. But then it was like, okay, how are they going to handle the clicker? That to me is going to be a true testament of what we're going to be in for this show. And again, knowing that Neil, who was the co-creator of the game and producer of the show, directed this episode, I think that he let us know, oh yeah, you guys are going to be in for a treat. For the video game fans out there, and for the newcomers, you guys hold on to your butts, because we got a lot in store for you. So I thought, man, this scene set it all. It set it off. The tension, the suspense, and the design. I don't know what else to say more. What else do you have to add from this incredible production?
It worked. It
Yeah.
worked for me,
Yeah.
especially in how they were introduced because they're walking it that they brought in that element of that old school horror movie vibe. We're in this haunted house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're walking around trying to be quiet. And then, of course, what happens when some noise happens? And it's just like, okay, who's here?
Yep.
Who's here? What's going to happen? Your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Because you don't normally just, look, yes, the view of that. That's the old school horror part is we're trying to just find our way through this place and we don't even know what's here.
Well said. Well said. And someone said signs. It reminded me of the moment of sign. Oh yeah, that was one of that alien coming across the screen. Yeah, it was definitely it kind of set that same vibe. So yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. I love the design of the creatures. I love the scene itself, and I love that they actually have actors that are portraying these. Like I said, there was a little bit of visual effects, just a little bit, but it was very very minimal. I love everything about this scene, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to get into with a lot of these other designs and other clickers when they have been around for a little bit longer, when they've been affected for a little bit longer. So I thought it was almost perfect. There's not a lot of things perfect in the world, but man, I mean, look at this shot here. Look at this shot of this clicker. And the lighting was perfect. Ah, man. Doesn't get better, ladies and gentlemen. Does not get better. But we make it out of it temporarily, but we find out one of our main characters was unfortunately bit, and that is Tess. So I'm just your thoughts on the moment that she takes her own life to sacrifice herself, and how did you feel about that whole thing being played out?
You know, because I don't know why this show, and I guess this is why people calling it the new Walking Dead.
Mm,
Because from the moment when they was in that muddled water, and I was like, ooh, that's how Bob got bit, and he ain't tell nobody. And
mm,
so in my mind, I knew in that location, I felt like she had got bit. Something told me she had got bit because Joel and Ellie were together and we
right.
didn't see her for a
Didn't
little
see her.
bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when she revealed it, I was like,
Damn.
I knew
Damn.
it. I,
Mhm.
I I knew it. But
Yeah.
I think she held off from telling them because she knew that there was a decision that had to be made in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. It definitely showed you. Don't get too attached, right? As you just mentioned with a Walking Dead or a la Game of Thrones, you don't get too attached to these characters. But like you had mentioned,
Because
yeah, because of this.
because
Yeah,
yep.
because of this. But no, I thought this was a great moment. Again, it was a little bit different from the video games. If I'm not mistaken, she was there was like soldiers that were chasing them, and she sacrificed herself to get Ellie and Joel to escape. But this one was a little bit more, I think. I don't want to say more emotional, but it was definitely more dramatic than what we got in the game, especially with her, having that clicker or not the clicker, but infected come to her. And while she's getting the lighter, I was just like, oh, please get this lighter. Please get the lighter to work. Because how many times have we seen that where someone tries to sacrifice himself with a lighter or a firework or something? It's just like they can't get it and they just have like the ultimate death. But she eventually got it. But she went out in a blaze of glory, to say the least. But final words for Tess. Again, I know you said you would have loved to get more from her, but overall, in her 2 episodes that we got, who's to say that we might not get? We talked about it earlier, flashbacks. So who's to say we might see a scene when she meets Joel for the first time, or maybe get a little bit of her backstory? Potentially, I doubt it, but you never know. But overall, what did you think of Tess before we wrap up on her character?
She was quick thinking right in the end.
Yeah,
She because from the time span of her getting bit, her making the decision that Joel is going to have to carry on with Ellie without her, and then the decision that she's going to risk her life. It's like you can see why Joel paired himself up with her
yeah, yep,
because that was some quick thinking on her behalf to make such back-to-back decisions um, for the greater good.
yeah,
And it almost makes me think like, was she the thinker out of the pair? Like, was she the one
mm,
that's why they hooked up together because she's quick-witted, quick-witted. She's um, like the planner, the person who had the structure,
Right.
the one who is like, we're making these decisions to push us forward. Like if
Mm-hmm.
she was that person, almost where's that gonna leave
Where it's gonna, yeah,
us and Joel?
it's a good point. It's a good point. Like I said, it's gonna be some interesting characters we're gonna meet here, especially based off this tonight's trailer. That I'm really excited to see the interpretation of them. But yeah, man, and what a great shot here. But yeah, rest in peace to Tess. I thought the actress did a great job of bringing a little bit more to the character. And showing a little bit more of her humane side, and she was great, man. I wish, like you said, I wish we would have maybe got a couple more episodes because I knew this was coming, but I was hoping that we got a little bit more scenes with her. But what a way to go out. What a way to go out, no less. And final thoughts as we wrap up the episode as Ellie, she built this bond with her. She didn't want to see her go. And I love this kind of final shot here. But final thoughts on the episode, and what do you hope to see in the coming weeks?
Before we end it, I gotta talk about that
Yeah.
scene where that right there before Tess
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed herself, where the he shot the one guy, and it showed us exactly what Tess was talking about, where the shot went off and it
Mm-hmm.
woke everybody else up.
Good call. Yeah.
That was creepy to me. That was panic mode to me, because it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, we killed the immediate threat only to create a bigger threat.
Right.
And that
Good
a
point.
swarm is a lot more deadlier than just the one or two. You can run from the one or two. When the swarm comes, that's a lot. And so I thought that added a good bit of panic right
Yeah.
there in the end.
No, that's
I
a good
really,
point. Good call out. Yeah.
that was like, okay. And that spoke to even Tess saying like, oh, she was just like, I know what happens. They're connected. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't, that it woke the rest of them up. He woke everybody else up. It's
Right.
about to be on. And
Yeah.
what's the mission? Get Ellie somewhere safe. So Tess
Right.
had the mission in the forefront and was able to make that quick call the way that she did. But that was
Right.
creepy. Think about you. Okay, I destroyed the immediate threat, and then
Yeah.
here we go. I made a bigger
Yep.
mess. I really thought the way that they shot it
Mm-hmm.
made it even more creepy. That was some good cinematography there, because as you're
Yeah.
seeing one laying down, you're seeing another
10,
reanimate.
when they say you cut the head off a snake and 3 more appear type of situation. Yeah. It's pretty crazy and pretty, like you said, pretty terrifying as well. And then we got a question. When did Tess get bit? I believe it was when, like you just mentioned earlier, when they were off doing well, not off, but when Ellie and Joel were fighting against the clicker. I assumed that during that time when she was off screen that she was potentially bit. They didn't want to show us that because obviously it would give away the reveal at the end there. So that's when I believe she was bitten, when we were following Ellie and Joel. And you pretty much think the same, right? When she got bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If anyone in chat disagrees or has a different point of view, let us know in the chat. But I'm pretty sure that's when she was bit, unfortunately. But fantastic episode. So again, this show not only has it been able to not give us incredible performances from Joel, Ellie, RIP Tess, and looking forward to the new characters we're going to be getting in the coming weeks. But again, I just think from a show perspective, I love how they're just building this world out, like we talked about, establishing the fungal at the beginning, establishing the scientific elements of the show, and I'm a sucker for quieter moments with characters. Yes, I love boom, bang, booms, action chase sequences, but I love the quieter moments when those characters can have those more intimate conversations. And we got a couple of those tonight from Tess, from Ellie, from Joel, of course. So I'm loving that because, as you talked about several times tonight, it's within those moments that you get to build those characters. You get to care for those characters, and from not only from the characters' interactions, like you said with Ellie, now maybe getting a little bit more of understanding of Joel, who she's with, who's keeping her safe, and vice versa with Joel. Who am I, fighting this fight against? Who am I leading this charge against? But as an audience member, we get to see these moments for when we lose a Tess, when we lose a Sarah, and if we lose any of these characters moving forward, it really hits home, right? Because we've built so much love and respect and being fans of these characters. So I'm loving it so far. But what about you? How do you feel about these two episodes? And if there was one you preferred over the other one, is tonight's episode your favorite? Last week, how you feeling?
Yes, definitely. We got more of the horror elements that I like.
Mhm,
When I feel like I sit and I'm quiet, like I'm in it when with them. If they're quiet and I'm quiet, I'm in.
mhm, mhm.
So I'm in. For me, this was both episodes were good and set a good tone, but I definitely like this one better.
Yeah, yeah. I think last week's was, and I read some of the behind the scenes. Last week was supposed to be we are supposed to get 10 episodes, but it's going to be 9 because last week's episode was 2 episodes combined into one.
Hmm.
But I thought it was an excellent pilot. But like you said, tonight to me really established the threat, or one of the threats, because in this type of world, as you know from Walking Dead, sometimes the zombies aren't the worst thing in the world; it's the people. So that's
That's
what I'm
why I
really.
have
Yep.
that fear of wherever they're taking her. That's why
Hmm.
that little bit of reservation for me is there.
I agree. And as Mayanne said, yes, definitely hit that thumbs up, guys, before we wrap up tonight. That would mean a lot to me. But yeah, I think this showed again. We saw last week the army side of it, and kind of what can happen from a human perspective when there's definitely more of that to come. But then we got the other thing that's more, that could be more of a threat, which is, again, as we saw tonight, the clickers. And I thought that
Hmm.
they were just excellently portrayed and just shown in a light where as you said tonight, I'm afraid for our characters. Even playing a game, man, it's just like, when you play the game, you have a lot more control over certain things. But when you're you're sitting back watching this show, and as they showed us tonight, some of these characters can go like that. So 2 for 2, and I'm very excited for next week because apparently next week's episode, from everything I'm hearing, is one of the best episodes of the show. So I'm really, really excited to see what we got there. And I think we got some love coming in from Horror and Hooch. So yes, yes, yes. We definitely have to have her on again in the future. But wrapping it up, what do you have lined up this week as far as content? And again, where can people find your channel, your outlets, and all that good stuff?
Yes, yes, yes. Please, if you're not already in there, join the Horror and Hooch Facebook group. Horror and Hooch Facebook group. It is Halloween every day in there. We have a lot of fun, horror recommendations, reviews, memes, all that good stuff. We are also on TikTok. So join Horror and Hooch on TikTok. Our YouTube is The Fifth Wall LLC. That's where you can find all of our podcast episodes. And my podcast co-host and I, hey Desiree girl, we also will be reviewing The Last of Us. We are going to go over episode 1 and 2. We wanted to watch both of them before we gave our take and our ratings on the pilot and the second episode. And for those who have not seen Horror and Hooch podcasts, um, we review horror movies, horror shows, books, anything horror. We do interviews, and with my co-host, who is a bartender, we dedicate every show to a special drink. That is our hooch part. So with the horror, we come with a special drink. So we have a lot going on. Looking forward to getting our season started this year. We have a lot more stuff coming with our TikTok, with recommending not only new things, but some throwback horror and doing some, by fixing of the drink. So we have a lot going on. So I can't wait to get this year and of horror started. But definitely a good central location place for us is to join Horror and Hooch Facebook group. Horror Hooch Facebook group. Please welcome, please come. And we can't wait to see you. And I'm glad I got a chance to do this. I've been trying to track down Elliot for a while to be on MovieFiles. So this has
Hey,
been really fun.
so glad to have you on again. The invite's open. We'd love to have you on again. And especially, like I said, I'm a big horror fan myself. And before we actually wrap up and wrap this thing up, I just need to pick your horror brain. Top 3 or 5, you pick anticipated horror films this year. Put you on the spot. Put you on the spot. You do 5, you can do 3. Most anticipated horror projects, movies of 2023 from Horror and Hooch. Let's hear it here. Let's see.
Anticipated horror.
just to give you a rundown, we got, things like Saw 10,
Yep.
Evil Dead Rise. We got, Scream 6 coming out next month or March.
Definitely Scream.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing there is another movie in what is it, the franchise that has The Nun and all of
The Nun
that.
2. Yeah. They got another one coming out. Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Okay. Scream, The Nun 2. Got some good choices so far. Okay.
I'm trying to think, what else is
Evil Dead
there?
Rise. Are you an Evil Dead fan?
I actually am. Oh, this one, and I know this is probably gonna scare me, but I'm actually looking forward to the remake of The Exorcist. I don't know how this is
Ooh,
gonna turn out, if it's gonna
yeah.
compare to the classic, but we gonna
I'm
see.
I'm interested in that one too. My only reservations is David Gordon Green, the director of the most recent Halloween trilogy. I thought 2018
Mm.
Halloween started off good. I thought Halloween Kills wasn't that great, and I hated Halloween Ends. So we'll see what he can do with The Exorcist. But those are some good picks. Again, I'm very, very much so excited for this year in horror, for movies and shows. But yeah, definitely I'm with you with Scream 6. I mean, come on now. You got Wednesday Adams herself, Jenna Ortega, who stocked his roles this past year. Her and her sister Sam. I'm very excited to see that
They
in
put a gun
Ghostface
in Ghostface
with a
hand. I
shotty.
said he
With a
got a
shotty.
gun.
Come on now.
What?
Come on now. Yeah, I'm
What?
really excited for that March 10th, I believe, is release day. But for me, I gotta say Evil Dead Rise is on top of that chart for me. That trailer we got a couple weeks ago.
I'm actually
Mommy's with the maggots. Oh, I love
I'm
Evil Dead.
actually thinking about.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about watching the original one, the original Evil Dead,
Yeah.
before, just so that I can
Kind of
be
get
in
back in
and
that
get
mindset.
back in
Yeah.
that mindset. I was like, you know
100%.
what? I'm gonna go. I need to watch the original to prepare
Yeah.
for this new one coming out.
Yeah, we got
Because
some.
of course the graphics gonna be better.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just I mean, Sam Raimi's a legend in his own right, and for that time in the '80s, it did its justice for them. But yeah, the new visual effects and all the stuff they're going to bring to it, Conjuring, like you said,
Yes,
yeah,
that's another one.
yeah,
You have the Nun, and they're supposed to have another Conjuring movie. So that too.
oh,
So that
Exorcist,
franchise has two
Exorcist.
movies supposed to be coming out this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year. And Welcome to Derry is something that's definitely on my list. The prequel to Pennywise, or to It, I should say. Let's see what other people are saying here. We got another Welcome to Derry. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see, because I think that's another HBO, because it's a WB project. It's going to be like Evil Dead 2013. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Mayan. I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead franchise, but I go 2013 Evil Dead over the original. I love that 2013 remake. Fatty Alvarez did his thing with that one. Jay says Renfield, which is a new Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult vampire film where Nicholas Hoult is playing his lynchman and trying to get out of this abusive relationship. That one looks pretty fun.
Oh yeah, Fear. I'm looking in the comments. There's another movie.
Fear.
There's a movie
That's
called
that. Yeah, I
Fear
saw a
coming.
trailer for that. Yeah, that's the kind of some what is it? Batch is in that too, isn't he?
And
Batch?
they're like playing on people's phobias or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah, it should be interesting. But the other one Mayan brings up is Beau is Afraid. I'm a big Ari Aster fan. Hereditary, probably the scariest thing I've seen in the last decade. Midsummer was fantastic, and Joaquin Phoenix, crazy, trippy stuff going on. Oh yeah, I'm definitely here. And A24 to me doesn't miss. So it's
Wild.
It's gonna be a great year for horror, and we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. And I know you and your channel is going to cover a lot of that horror, and I'm going to be definitely tuning in to see what you guys got there. Definitely. So again, I would love to have you on again. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
Let me know.
Hey, I love it. You brought a lot of good things to tonight's discussion.
You, and
again,
thank you for having me. This was fun.
Of course. Again, I will be leaving their link in the description once this video is uploaded. This week is going to be kind of light on the reviews, because we're still in the kind of, it's the beginning of the year. We gotta prepare for all these horror films, all these big blockbusters. But keep an eye out for the content I got lined up this week. And of course, we'll be back next week to do our live watch party and after show following that. And yeah, man, this was a fun episode. I love tonight's episode, and I love tonight's discussion. Again, just a friendly reminder before we bounce: hit that thumbs up, share, And if you're watching the replay, shout out to the replay gang. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And Kay, before we bounce off, just stay. I want to chat with you in the after we get off this. So
Absolutely.
again, guys, from myself to you, thank you for watching tonight's stream. You all have been awesome, and you all stay safe out there. We'll catch you guys.